We have 3 days of Speedlights, and this is going to be a blast. And we are going to just slow down. We're going to go through everything that we possibly can about these little Speedlight guys here, and lots of time for question and answer. And so what I want to do is first say welcome, talk to you about the 3 days and what we're going to be doing. So day one is a solid foundation. So what I'm going to be doing is day one is really helping us understand every single little nuance of what the camera is doing with the flash and what the flash is doing and how it's doing all of its exposure, how the flash is figuring out the correct exposure, all that kind of stuff. So we're digging in, we're going to tear everything apart. And so we know all the different technical language, all the stuff that you need to know to really wrap your head around what is happening with the flash. And so a lot of practical information on day one to make sure we're solid. Day two, we're going to take all of that information and we're going to start modifying the light. So we're going to start adding softboxes and light modifiers and some of the rogue stuff. We're going to get our flashes off our camera. We're going to talk about how to do a key light and a kicker light and a fill light, and we're going to do a bunch of different things. We're going to be shooting outside. We're going to shoot in low light. We're going to shoot in the dark. We're going to shoot in bright sunlight. We're going to do a bunch of things. So all this training that we get from day one that seems theoretical and a lot of information, we're going to put that into practice day two, and so we're going to be going over it and over it and over it. And then we're going to continue. Day three, we're going to put everything into practice. And so these are sort of both put everything into practice. But what we're doing is all the language, understanding all the technicalities, all the stuff that's going on, take that, build on it a little bit, make sure that we know how to put that into practice with modifying the light, understanding how light is shaped and used. And then we're going to take these two things and we're going to run through a bunch of scenarios. So we're going to go through things like how do you shoot maybe Christmas or holiday photos at home in low light? How do you shoot those Halloween photos of kids? How do you shoot a wedding reception when all they have are tables outside with little lights wrapped around trees and it's pitch black? How do you do that? How do you shoot a group? How do you freeze action when people are flipping around and doing sports and things like that? So we are going to shoot a lot day two and day three. A lot. In fact, that's pretty much all we're doing is just shooting. So day one, really heavy on understanding the technical stuff. Day two and three, put it into practice. So for everybody at home, what I want you to do is if you have your camera and flash, grab it. We're going to be walking through things, and so you're going to need that as we go through these different things. So you can be flipping switches and dialing and going in and looking. Also, if you have a user manual for your flash and your camera, grab that too. So you'll be needing that as well. So we want to start by meeting our students. We have some awesome students here. And so watch this. This is a cool animation. See, it's a flash. Did you like that? Yeah, that took me seconds to figure that one out. But anyway, okay, so what I want to do here is ask our students, tell us your name and tell us the thing that you hope to get out of this workshop. And we're starting right here with Josh.
My name is Josh Daniels, and what I want to get from this workshop is to be able to mix ambient with flash quickly on the fly.
Okay. And you're shooting with what kind of camera?
Canon.
Canon camera. Okay, next to you is?
I'm Allie.
Allie.
And I would love to learn more about shooting off-camera flash, especially for wedding receptions.
Okay, so we have mixed ambient light with flash fast and off-camera flash, specifically at wedding receptions. We have Kim.
Hi. I just want to get really comfortable with them. I have studio lights at home, but in the field I'm like fumbling around. I just really want to make it second nature. I need them to be second nature.
Yeah, so quickly be able to take things.
Yeah.
So, and I think that you're not alone in this, that in the studio we have the ability to control everything exactly and precisely, and it's every time the same. And as soon as we use these speed lights, it's like, what is going on? This shot looks this way, and this shot looks this way, and this shot looks this way, and they're all wonky, and what's going on? And I just want to, right?
Yeah, well, it also seems like even if I do the same setting from before, I get a different result.
Yes, and Kim, you didn't say your name, so Kim.
Kim, sorry.
Introduce yourself.
Katya. And I want to make sure I master the flash on weddings, receptions. That's what I struggle the most.
Wedding receptions. And what do your wedding receptions look like? Are they inside or outside at night in the daytime?
Indoors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about both shooting inside and outside because it's different. It's different. And so we'll talk about all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, Katya. What is it? Past tense. Okay, Mr.
Colby.
Colby.
I'd like to learn more about the off-camera flash and the modifiers, and also be able to comprehend the camera, the flash itself, and everything with it.
Right, so when you pick up that flash and you want to get it off camera and add a softbox, what mode do you put it on? What mode do you put your camera on? Where do you start? Those types of things, right? And what if you add 2 or 3 flashes, and how do you direct people, and how do you do it like that fast? Because guess what? The bride just came down the aisle and now you missed a shot. That stuff, right? Okay, so we're gonna do all of that stuff. In fact, all those scenarios you just talked about, we're doing on day 3, and some on day 2, and 1 or 2 we're doing today. So it's gonna rock. Now, before we begin, there's something that's very important for everybody to understand. It's really important, and that is there are a lot of different kinds of cameras. There's Nikon, there's Canon, there's Sony, and the list goes on and on and on, right? All of those different cameras and flashes and those different units, they treat their flashes a little bit differently. Not a lot. All the principles and things that we talk about today of how the exposure is made and all that stuff, it's the same. But how these guys talk to each other, their flashes and cameras, there are a lot of different variations on how that happens. And so that's why if you have a manual and I say, hey, we're going to talk about how to turn on rear curtain sync, it might not be exactly the same as I'm showing you. So you can flip there and know that, oh, okay, rear curtain sync does this, and here's how I turn it on with my Vivitar flash, whatever that thing is. So they're not created equal either. And so you can have a Canon 430EX flash and a Canon 580EX2 flash, and they are not the same. They have different abilities and features and power and things like that. So we're not saying that a Nikon and a Canon, one is better than the other. What I'm saying is that a Canon and a Canon, one could be better than the other. So they're not all the same, they're all created equal. So don't let that be a stumbling block as we go through this course. Just understand that there are differences between different flashes and things, and I will do my best to talk to those without, I mean, if we went through every single flash and camera combination, it would take us weeks to go through that. So we're not gonna be doing that. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna stick with Nikon and Canon because that makes up 90% of the market. And so people that don't have those, please don't be angry. We have to go to what most people have, and we're gonna shoot with both Nikon and Canon cameras and flashes. And we have a bunch, and I know you guys brought a bunch as well. Okay, now all cameras are not created equal. That's also a big difference. And so, for example, if you have a Canon D series camera, 1DS, or the 1DX, those really expensive high-end cameras, they have capabilities that no other Canon cameras have. And the same is true of, like, the Nikon D4 does some things with its on-camera flash that the rest of the Nikons don't do. So some of the things that we talk about you can do with some cameras, but not others. So again, just be cognizant of the fact that there are a lot of different variables here. So that's it. Okay, now we also, I said this already, consult your user manual if needed. So we're gonna start with this big question, and that is this. What is the issue we're trying to solve with our flash? What's the problem? What is that thing? And so people that are online in the chat room, start chiming in. So what's the problem that you're trying to solve with your flash? And so you guys, I'm gonna just go to you. What is the thing that you're having difficulties with and you're trying to figure it out? Josh, tell me something that you're like, okay, I'm in a situation, I'm trying to solve this. What is it?
Again, with the ambient, really, just kind of, mixing up and either getting more dramatic light when the light's all the same wherever you are, or solving the shadow problem.
Yes, and Kim, you're trying to do what?
I've just got to get a better sense of the controls. I mean, usually I can get it to go bright, and that's fine, but controlling the amount of light.
But fundamentally, what do we need? What is that thing, that one thing that we need? Kenna has somebody from online.
Yes, we've got all sorts of folks chiming in, and let's see, ITL Photography says, I'm trying to fix dull, boring photos, and we see somebody saying about adding drama.
Drama, boring photos, mixing light, controlling things. It all boils down to, and I'm trying to trick you into one thing, it's this. Everything boils down to one thing. What we're really trying to do is solve this issue, light. It all boils down to that, light. So we're trying to do something specific. So let me tell you Mark's version of the solution, and that is this. We want to use an external flash, something that's external, not the little guy that pops up, okay? An external flash to add an appropriate amount, so not too bright, not bright. What is that, dim? We're gonna have it just right, just the appropriate amount of flattering light. Okay, we want it to be flattering. We don't want it to be nasty light that casts shadows. We don't want it to come from the side and look nasty. We want it to be the appropriate amount of flattering light. And we want to add that to the scene while still capturing the available light, also known as ambient light, to the best of our ability. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, now these three things that are in yellow are big chunks of what we're going to be talking about this weekend. We're going to talk about how to get the appropriate amount of light. That's the control stuff that Kim was talking about, what you were talking about. How do we do that? How do we make sure we get just the right amount so it's not overpowering? How do we get flattering light? How do we add drama? Right? How do we do that? How do we get somebody and separate them from the background and make them look a little bit more dramatic? How do we add kicker lights? How do we get that flash off our camera? And then how do we get the available light to look nice? Now, what I like to do is I like to either make my on-camera or off-camera flash in a nice scene. I like to be sort of transparent where you don't know that it's there. It just looks good. Or the opposite. I like to make it look like it's like we know we sculpted this light.